Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Let's do it. Let's read it. Y'all, we're going to sit here and we are about to read the complaint with a jury trial demanded from Stephanie Jones from Jones Work LLC against Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios LLC, and John Doe's 1 through 10. Now, who is this person? This person was part of the PR team. I can't remember if she was part of the crisis management team or the other PR team, but she was part of the PR. And it is alleged or implied in the court information that was read by from the Justin Baldoni against the New York Times lawsuit that she provided information or some kind of stuff to Blake Lively and all of those people in that lot. So what we're going to do is that we're going to read what she's done. I want to be as fair as possible, because after I read that Baldoni complaint, I had more questions than answers. And shout out to all the people that watched that video and commented on that video. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate you all giving me you all's insight and take, because there were some things that I was confused about, particularly in regards to, isn't there someone who, when we discussed the fact that it was in his complaint that Blake Lively took over the wardrobe. Wasn't there somebody there to manage this and the budget and stuff like that? And a lot of you all commented that. Also, a lot of you all commented because I saw the pictures. I went because, like I said, to be fair and to be, open, I've not seen the movie. But I did see some stills from, I went back and looked because that wardrobe, I had heard that the wardrobe was atrocious. I went to go see what wardrobe that they had. That's all I'm gonna say. So I can understand where that was coming. And I did watch a couple of more interviews that Blake Lively had. I will say that she is consistent on her interviewing style. I don't know if that was what was rubbing people the wrong way. I can see that she's very consistent with this interview style. And, hearing a lot of different things about her. I don't want it to perform some type of bias. But again, I came into this cold knowing the only thing I knew about her is being at the Met Gala. And I enjoyed that outfit that she wore to the Met Gala. So this was interesting to me. And it was also interesting, this whole case, because as I kept reading, people were like, oh, this is going to get to the level of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I was like, let me read this stuff to see what's really going on. And I find that my audience is just as curious as I am. So what I will do is share my screen. And also, you all, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like what you see, do subscribe. And once you subscribe, you'll notice that I do movie and TV reviews. I have pop culture chats where I just put my opinion on what's going on in pop culture. And I also have dabbled in celebrity legal news. So that is something that I want to get that I've been into probably over a year now. So let me present my screen. Let's see, is that the way I want it? Okay. And I will let you all know early that I may be in and out as far as my picture being on the screen, a couple of things, and I may go mute a couple of times because you can hear it in my voice that I'm almost hoarse. So I'll be partaking of the cough drop. I will be partaking of my hot libation, and I do have some water here. So I've got all the things that I need to be able to just carefully read this lawsuit. So we have gone over Blake Lively's, we have gone over Justin Baldoni. So let's go over Stephanie Jones because all of this is part of the situation. I just got to move some things. How are you all doing out there? Again, hit that like button for me. All right. So this was filed in New York, filed in New York County Clerk the day before Christmas, 12/24/2024. I had an earlier version that came from Deadline, but it didn't have because I like for the top part here. Yeah, I like to see this right here. And that lets me know with the index number and all of that other stuff. That let you know that it had actually been filed. Not that they looked like they had an early copy. And again, these are PR people that we're talking about, so they know how to get the news to print early copies and things like that. So, and I do want to preface that this is dealing with the shenanigans and the interworkings of Hollywood PR. Okay. So let's do this. Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York. We have Stephanie Jones, Jones Work LLC as the plaintiffs against Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios LLC, and John Doe's 1 through 10. John Doe's 1 through 10 is that there's somebody that's done something, but until she has the names of the people who've actually done it, they're going to be classified as John Doe's 1 through 10. Plaintiffs Stephanie Jones and Jones Works LLC, by and through their undersigned counsel, bring this complaint against defendants Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios LLC, and John Doe's 1 through 10, and respectfully allege as follows. The nature of this case. Defendants Abel and Nathan secretly conspired for months to publicly and privately attack Jones and Jones Works to breach multiple contracts and induce contractual breaches and to steal clients and business prospects. Behind Jones's back, they secretly coordinated with Baldoni and Wayfarer to implement an aggressive media smear campaign against Baldoni's film co-star and then used the crisis as an opportunity to drive a wedge between Jones and Baldoni and to publicly pin blame for this smear campaign on Jones, when Jones had no knowledge or involvement in it. To this day, Abel and Nathan continue to point the finger falsely at Jones now that their own misconduct is coming to light, and to defame and attack Jones in the industry. Baldoni and Wayfarer, who have since parted ways with Jones Works, have repudiated their contractual obligations with Jones Works and rebuffed Jones's effort to settle this dispute privately and in arbitration. So let's go back to that. Baldoni and Wayfarer, who have since parted ways with Jonesworks, have repudiated their contractual obligations with Jonesworks and rebuffed Jones's effort to settle this dispute privately in arbitration. So there has been some behind the scenes work going on with this. Defendants will not stop attacking Jones and have refused any efforts to resolve these issues out of court. This lawsuit seeks to finally put a stop to their continued misconduct and to compensate Jones and Jonesworks for the damage defendants' conduct and schemes has inflicted. Stephanie Jones is a highly respected public relations expert who focuses on corporate and personal publicity. Through her company, Jonesworks, she has represented many high-profile celebrities, athletes, companies, and business people. Among Jonesworks' clients were Baldoni, a well-known actor, a director, and producer, and Wayfarer, his movie production company. Baldoni produced, directed, and co-starred in the film It Ends With Us. In connection with the film's release in August 2024, Baldoni began to fear that the media might report on allegations of misogynistic and toxic on-set behavior and that the fallout would be harmful to his reputation and career. Determined to protect his reputation, Baldoni and Wayfarer CEO Jamie Heath turned to Abel, who had become the point person at Jonesworks on the Baldoni and Wayfarer account. Abel brought on crisis fixer Melissa Nathan to help her manage the situation. Together, Abel and Nathan, with Heath's active encouragement, conspired to shut Jones out of the process and keep their strategy hidden from her. And that's interesting. That's interesting to me. And like I said, I'm only reading your thing. They shut her out. I'm interested to see what happened that she was shut out. Abel and Nathan sprang into action, scheming to bury and destroy co-star Blake Lively to protect Baldoni. Their plan was covert, deliberately concealed from Jones, and went far beyond the legitimate scope of Abel's employment. At the time, Abel and Nathan were pursuing a far more selfish purpose, tearing down Jones's reputation to take her clients and enrich themselves upon Abel's planned departure from Jonesworks. You know, just from all of this, the publicity, the PR, public relations business out there in LA and New York, this is some cutthroat businesses, y'all. I can't, oh my goodness. So here we go with the text messages. And so we're going to read this. And so they've redacted some information on there. So it's from somebody at Melissa Nathan to somebody, Jennifer Abel, owner. I know. And once you are gone, we will be on accounts together and make really good money and be happy. Okay. And this was a text that was sent out 7/29/2024 at about 5:03. Here's the next text. Something was from redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. Let's just keep it steering that way. And you take this effing client and never talk to her again. I swear to God. Listen, if you've been with me and you read that Baldoni complaint against the New York Times, they talk real greasy. They talk real greasy and curse words fly. So, I'm not opposed to people cursing, but I try not to when I'm reading stuff, but it may fly off. And if that's something that offends you, I apologize in advance because, I am doing my best to make sure that I censor what I see, but sometimes it's just going to come off. And so I want to let you know that I am reading this information. I am not directing those insults at you, at my audience. Okay. It says, number 5, avarice, not any sincere appreciation for Baldoni, was Nathan and Abel's motivation. Abel's candid communications revealed that she, in fact, held Baldoni personally in extremely low regard. All right. So this is from Somebody, I want to know who these people that are redacted from here. It's just a me thing. I want to know who's been redacted from these accounts. So it's from whoever that was redacted, Jennifer Abel, to redacted. So who they sent it to, it was completely redacted. And it says, I can't stand him. He's so pompous. A men's retreat during release? Is he crazy? And being off the grid for the summer because he's just so overworked? Like, calm down. You're not that important, and nobody gives a crap how hard your life is. From somebody, Jennifer Abel, to they redacted that name. He doesn't need a retreat. He needs to be humbled. When this movie flops, he's going to try to blame every person around him for it. And the only thing I don't like about reading these texts is because of the fact that show the whole text thread, because I don't have as much context about what I'm reading, but it does sound like there was some animosity or something going on. But I really would love to have the full context, show the whole thread. But I guess they need to explain what they're talking about in this complaint. But in the exhibits, I'd like to see the whole thread. Months earlier, Abel had voiced the same opinion in connection with the film kissing scene between Baldoni and Lively, which was described to Abel as so gross and revealed that Abel was well aware of Lively's on-set complaints about Baldoni's behavior. And so it's from some redaction, Jennifer Abel to redacted. It's so cringy. And this was January 13th, 2024. And then the same redaction, and then the next text, his face, priority, no, his face. This was in January 13th. Now, it's not telling you, again, redaction to Jennifer Abel owner. Blake was probably grossed out too. Yeah, and filed a cease and desist. At the same time as Abel and Nathan were working to protect Baldoni from negative press and attention, they were actively working their media contacts to plant negative stories about Jones and Jones' work. Central to Abel and Nathan's personal vendetta against Jones, which in August 2024 Business Insider article titled, Who's Afraid of Stephanie Jones?, that Abel and Nathan coordinated with a friendly reporter. Indeed, as early as July 29th, 2024, Abel and Nathan were coordinating their outreach to Katie Warren, the Business Insider reporter who eventually published an article attacking Jones. From Jennifer Abel owner to redacted, and there's two redactions there, Melissa Nathan, do you by chance chat with Katie, the journo? From Melissa Nathan, redaction Melissa Nathan to redaction Jennifer Abel. No, she's calling me soon. Actually, should be very soon, probably in the next 10 minutes. So all of this tells me that in the PR game, it is very, very helpful for you all to have relationships with different reporters and things like that so that you can get stories placed and pushed in articles. Now, I know that is this is how you all do business. But for me, that's kind of awful because, I come from the old school where, journalists were held in such high regard. And to know that in publications that we consider to have what we call journalistic integrity, it's a little disheartening to see that you're just calling these people and they're putting out articles and things like that. Because I would think, why would a journalist put out an article against somebody if they have not done their due diligence? We do see, and I know I'm saying this after the heels of what I read with the Justin Baldoni, but that it's the same thing. I'm just finding it hard as a regular layperson to wrap my head around the fact that people are doing this. I don't know, are they getting extra pay? I don't know exactly what's going on. It just this seems to be This type of stuff seems to bother me throughout all the three lawsuits that I have been read. That these are some of the concerns I have with this right now. As you heard with the Baldoni complaint that I read, I had a problem with all of that capitulation, with all of the things. I was like, you go into someone's house and allowing them to berate you within their home, being iced out of your stuff, all of those things I have questions because something doesn't add up right to me. I am not, I'm trying to be as impartial as I can, but something doesn't add up right. I do see that there's a lot of different takes and things like that, but there's just a lot of stuff going on in here. And this is why we read it, because we want to try to get as much understanding as we can. Conversations between Abel and Nathan show close coordination with Warren, including numerous lengthy phone calls between Abel and Warren between July 30th and August 12th. Abel also facilitated Warren's outreach to former clients of Jones in order to further disrupt Jones' Works business and negatively influence the coverage. This included putting Warren in touch with a client with whom Jones had worked closely for years, bringing her from obscurity to prominence, and who terminated her contract with Jones as a direct result of Abel's encouragement and deliberate interference. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner, to just redacted. FYI, Katie is going to try you again by phone to confirm if blank is a client. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner, to redacted. I would definitely call her ASAP and say off record she's not, and to not have her included in the piece. On the eve of the article's release, Nathan boasted about the destructive effect this story would have on Jones, mocking Jones in a text to Abel, and jokingly suggests that Abel should tell Jones. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel. Stephanie, are you aware that there is a kill story dropping this week on you? And if you hadn't blown us up, we would not have been in such a bad place. Abel and Nathan's conspiracy to take down Jones was virulent and effective, which they themselves recognized was fueled by society's natural willingness to tear down successful women, and they capitalized on this for their own gain. From redaction, Melissa Nathan, to redacted Jennifer Abel. It's actually sad because it just shows you have people really want to hate on women. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner, to redacted Melissa Nathan. I know it is sad. From redacted Jennifer Abel to redacted Melissa Nathan. But then, don't be a cunt. As her planned departure neared, Abel boasted to Nathan about the damages she was doing to Jones' work, her then current employer, and Nathan goaded her on. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner, to redacted Melissa Nathan. We are going to war. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner, to redacted Melissa Nathan. I feel so alive, ha ha ha. From redacted Jennifer Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. Going out of JW with a bang. Abel and Nathan also conspired to ensure that Wayfarer and Baldoni would leave Jones' work and come with Abel to her planned new firm. Here's what's interesting to me. Because there's an article from the way I'm reading this, there is an article came out or is coming out about Jones, Stephanie Jones and Jones' work. And my question is, something precipitated this. It doesn't seem like it just fell out of the air. There was something. And you know what? Let me back up. So we're on page 7 of 52. All right. Y'all give me 1 second. What is the name of the article? Who's Afraid of Stephanie Jones? No, we can't see it because it is behind a paywall. And I'm not paying any money to. All right, let's see if we can get it again. Oh, it says how Tom Brady's publicist became one of the most polarizing names in celebrity PR. That's the title of that article. Again, it won't let me see it because it's behind a paywall. Yeah. It's behind a paywall, so I won't be able to see it. But it just says how Tom Brady's publicist became one of the most polarizing names in celebrity PR. So that was the article. But let's get back on page 7. As her planned departure neared, Abel boasted to Nathan about the damage she was doing to Jones' work. Her then current employer and Nathan goaded her on from redacted Jennifer Abel to redacted Melissa Nathan. We are going to war. I feel so alive. And from redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, going out of JW with a bang. Abel and Nathan also conspired to ensure Wayfarer and Baldoni would leave Jones' work and come with Abel to her planned new firm. Hold on, y'all. Okay. I'm sorry. I paused because I have because I'm not familiar with a lot of these people, I'm having to try to make connections. I'm just making connections. So what I did was I typed in uh, because they said something in regards to Tom Brady. So I typed in Blake Lively and Gisele Bundchen because I thought that they would have more of a connection than Tom Brady. And I do see something. Okay. I just see that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, and Tom Brady have donated to hurricane relief. So we know that Blake Lively and Taylor Swift are friends. I was trying to see if there was a connection between um, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Giselle Bunchon, and Tom Brady, because it looks like the connective tissue to them is their PR person. Hello, hello. So it looks like that was the connection. You have to kind of figure out all of these things as you go on. So excuse me if I'm just, because I'm just looking at these different things and different connections and see how they are operating. Because she's in this lawsuit, she's saying that Abel and Nathan uh, shoved her out of a working relationship with Baldoni and Wayfair, and she was upset with that, and as it reads, as she should. So let's continue. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel. Just had a nice conversation with Justin, just him and me. I explained to him a few things and my conversation with Leslie. He's like, don't help her. I'm like, I'm not helping her. I'm telling her what we're not doing, and she needs to also not do anything. And my last conversation with her was last Wednesday or so. And then I couldn't help myself. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. I ended it with from into the same setup. And I'm just going to step out of line before I go to bed and tell you Jen is amazing. She is so loyal. She loves you so much, and you have to go with her. And he was like, oh my God, of course, I'm going with her. So all these texts are around the same time. Let's see. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted Melissa Nathan. Haha, OMG, love you. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted Melissa Nathan. Thanks for chatting with him. By the time Jones became aware of the plot in August 2024 and terminated Abel, it was too late and the damage was done. Abel had already stolen more than 70 proprietary and sensitive business documents and additional client leads from Jones' work. So Abel worked for Jones, is what I'm seeing. Beyond those documents, Abel left Jones' work with Baldoni and Wayfair in tow and immediately opened shop at her own competing firm, which she had set up while still working at Jones' work. She further sought to poach employees in violation of the non-compete and non-solicitation provisions in her contract. And for their part, encouraging Abel and leaving with her, Wayfair and Baldoni breached their own contract with Jones' work and then poured salt in the wound by baselessly refusing to pay the remaining amount owed. So she's basically suing because they have not paid her the money that she states they were contractually obligated to pay. And she's suing Abel and Nathan because they poached their clients. And that was in opposing to a non-compete, non-solicitation provision. I'm a layperson, y'all, which is crazy to sign, particularly if you are doing stuff like that and you go out on business that hampers you from, that almost like makes you have to stay in that employ for whatever until a certain time. I understand it, but it does seem a little shady at the same time. Don't mishear me. I'm just saying it just seems a little shady. But of course, from what I'm learning from this PR world, child, petty has nothing on y'all. Petty has nothing on y'all. It sounds like if you are a manipulative and a petty person, public relations is your place to be. I like a good petty, but I'm not manipulative. But I like as long as it's not damaging. But I like a good, a little pettiness. I like a little pettiness. Like I said, as long as it's not damaging, something, if y'all are going back and forth talking to each other, and then you say something petty about someone's clothes, that's a good kiki. That's a good cackle. But to try to destroy somebody's business or destroy their relationship in your quest to be petty, no, I don't like that. All right. Abel continues to this day to defame and point the fingers at Jones, seeking to dodge the inevitable fallout from her own actions and behaviors coming to light. Jones has tried in good faith to resolve the dispute out of court, but those efforts have been met with a complete lack of accountability and stonewalling. And defendants' finger pointing and smear campaign against Jones still continues. Jones anticipates that she will be subject to even more retaliation and negative attacks from defendant for filing this lawsuit and revealing the truth. But she's been left with no choice but to seek to vindicate her rights through litigation and put a stop to defendant's harassing and damaging behavior against her. Parties. Plaintiff Jones Works LLC is a Delaware limited liability company that is an internationally recognized public relations firm. It was founded in and has its principal place of business in New York, New York. Plaintiff Stephanie Jones is an individual who resides in Greenwich, Connecticut. Jones is the founder and CEO of Jones Works. Defendant Jennifer Abel is an individual who resides in Beverly Hills, California. From approximately July 20th to July 2024, Abel was an employee of Jones Works. In August 2024, Abel was terminated for cause by Jones Works and established RWA Communications, of which she's the founder and CEO. Defendant Melissa Nathan is an individual who resides in Los Angeles, California. Nathan offers crisis management and communication services. During a portion of the relevant period, Nathan lived in Brooklyn, New York. In approximately January 24, 2024, Nathan launched the agency group PR LLC. Defendant Justin Baldoni is an individual who relies in Ojai, California. Baldoni is a professional actor and director and is a co-founder and co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios, an independent studio and production company. Baldoni was the director, co-star, and producer of the film It Ends With Us. Defendant Wayfarer Studios LLC is a Delaware limited liability company with its principal place of business in Beverly Hills, California. It operates as an independent entertainment production studio and develops, produces, and finances feature films and other original media content. It was co-founded by current co-chairman Justin Baldoni and is led by CEO Jamie Heath. John Does 1 through 10 are unknown individuals who created and published the defamatory website www.stephaniejonesleak.com and www.stephaniejoneslies.com, as well as more than a dozen fake social media accounts and dark web accounts that defame Jones and Jones Works. This court has jurisdiction over this dispute and over defendant Abel, Nathan, Baldoni, and Wayfarer Studios pursuant to New York Civil Practice Law and Rules, CPLR. Section 301, because all defendants systematically and continuously conduct and solicit business within New York and have availed themselves of the privileges of conducting business in the state of New York. This court further has personal jurisdiction over each pursuant to CPLR Section 302, including because upon information and belief, all defendants transact and solicit business within the state, have committed the torturous acts described in this complaint within the state or have committed such acts outside of the state, causing injury to Jones' work and Jones with the state. As just one example, Baldoni and Heath met in person in New York with Lively regarding Baldoni's on-set misconduct that started the sequence of events leading to this suit. This court also has jurisdiction over defendants Abel, Baldoni, and Wayfarer Studios because each is a party to a contract with Jones' work that requires that disputes will be resolved in New York, subject to New York law. Venue is proper in this court pursuant to CPLR Section 503 because Jones' work's principal offices are in New York and because a substantial part of the event given a rise to the claims at issue occurred in New York County. Hey, Flavio. Happy New Year. All right. Let's see what's going on. Let's get the factual allegations. Because it is interesting that Baldoni is suing in California and Lively and Jones are suing in New York. Because Baldoni is suing the New York Times, which is based out of New York. But I guess they do business in California. All right. Anybody, my lawyer people, y'all put it down in the comments, or anyone that's familiar as to why why you have two factions filing in New York and one filing in California. Is it because he lives in California and he does not have a residence in New York? All right. Let's get to factual allegations. It says background on the parties and their contracts. Jones and Jones' work. Jones is a highly regarded leader in the field of public relations and the founder, president, and owner of Jones' work, an Emmy award-winning marketing and communications agency. I didn't know that public relation firms win Emmys. Sorry about that. Jennifer Abel. In July 2020, Jones' work hired Abel to work as a publicist with the title Vice President. On July 9th, 2020, Abel and Jones' work executed two contracts, an offer letter establishing Abel's compensation and a non-disclosure and intellectual property rights and non-soliciting agreement, the Abel NDA. The Abel NDA contained several provisions relevant to this complaint. Abel agreed to keep confidential any and all of Jones' work's proprietary information, including strategies, plans, and financial information, as well as information relating to Jones' work's clients. Abel agreed that any work product she created was the property of Jones' work. She also agreed that she would not prepare or assist in the preparation of any article about Jones' work without Jones' work's express permission, would not disparage Jones' work in any communications with any reporter or any Jones' work's clients, and would not attempt to persuade any Jones' work clients to stop doing business with Jones' work. On November 22nd, 2021, Jones' work and Abel executed an employment agreement adjusting the terms of her employment. Under the employment agreement, Jones' work granted Abel the title Vice President of Talent and provided her with compensation tied to the company's performance, including a bonus based on distributions made by the company and a payment equal to 1% of any net proceeds in the event of the sale of Jones' work. Under the employment agreement, Abel agreed Again, that she would not use any Jones work Jones work proprietary information for any purposes other than benefiting the company, that the products of her work were the sole property of Jones work, and that she would not directly or indirectly compete with Jones work for business during her employment or for a period of 6 months after her departure, that she would not solicit any business from Jones Works clients, that she would not solicit any Jones Works employees to depart the company, and that she would only notify clients of her departure from Jones Work with Jones' approval. Abel also expressly agreed that she owed Jones Work a fiduciary duty of loyalty, fidelity, and allegiance to act at all times in the best interest of the company and to do no act which might injure the business interest or reputation of the company. The employment agreement included a New York choice of law provision and a New York forum selection clause. Abel expressly agreed to submit to the jurisdiction of any state or federal court sitting in New York, for any disputes under the agreement. Shortly after executing the employment agreement, Jones began referring to Abel as a partner, but Abel remained at all times an employee of Jones Work and never held any partnership interest in the company. Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni. Jones Work began providing public relations services to Baldoni in approximately 2017. When Baldoni founded Wayfarer in 2019, Jones Work also began representing that company. In May 2020, Jones Work executed a contract to memorialize the terms of its provision of public relations services to Wayfarer, the Wayfarer Agreement. The Wayfarer Agreement provided that Jones Work would provide strategic communications in a professional manner. In exchange for these services, Wayfarer agreed to pay Jones Work $20,000 per month plus expenses, a 20% commission for any speaking engagements Jones Work procured, and a 10% commission for any third-party agreements Jones Works facilitated. The Wayfarer agreement provided that if Wayfarer requested additional services, the parties would negotiate an additional fee for those services. Wayfarer agreed not to solicit any Jones Work employees or attempt to induce any Jones Work employees to terminate her employment during the term of the Wayfarer agreement or for 1 year thereafter. The Wayfarer agreement provided that either party could terminate it only if the other party materially breached its terms and failed to cure those material breaches within 10 days of receiving notice. The Wayfarer agreement is governed by New York law. Any disputes under the Wayfarer agreement were to be resolved through binding arbitration in New York, New York. Wayfarer, through counsel, subsequently repudiated this arbitration provision. The contract had a 1 year term that automatically renewed for additional 1 year periods unless either party gave notice 90 days before such a renewal. Neither Jones Work or Wayfarer gave notice under this provision. The contract most recently renewed for 1 year period on May 7, 2024, and will expire May 6, 2025. In June 2020, a month after executing the Wayfarer agreement and upon Wayfarer and Baldoni's specific request, the parties, including Baldoni, agreed to incorporate public relations services for Baldoni personally into that contract in exchange for an additional payment of $5,000 a month. Since that time, at Wayfarer's and Baldoni's request, Jones Work has issued a single invoice each month for $25,000 to both Wayfarer and Baldoni. Until the dispute described in this complaint, Wayfarer and Baldoni paid those invoices each month. Shortly after commencing employment at Jones Work, Abel began working with Baldoni and Wayfarer. As time passed, Jones grew confident in Abel's ability and Abel ultimately was entrusted as the primary Jones work point of contact for Baldoni and Wayfair. In that capacity, Abel also worked closely with Jamie Heath, who previously served as Vice President of Impact and Culture and Co-Chief Operating Officer of Wayfair, and currently serves as Wayfair's President and Chief Executive Officer. In this capacity, Heath played a hands-on role in overseeing Wayfair's projects and communication strategies. Baldoni, Wayfair, and Heath and others accepted Jones' work's consistent performance of his contractual services. Melissa Nathan. Melissa Nathan is a longtime crisis manager who has previously worked at several public relations firms. In 2022, Nathan and Jones work engaged in negotiations regarding Nathan potentially joining Jones work. The negotiations progressed significantly, including Jones work agreeing to hire and actually hiring two of Nathan's colleagues upon Nathan's insistence. Ultimately, however, negotiations with Nathan failed and she was not retained by Jones work. In 2023, Jones witnessed Nathan's approach to handling clients' crises when they worked for a mutual client. Nathan's tactics went far over the line. Jones recommended that the client terminate its relationship with Nathan, which was separate and independent from Jones and Jones work. Jones herself further resolved that she would not collaborate with Nathan for clients in the future. Nathan has seemed to harbor significant animus towards Jones and Jones work ever since. In January 2024, Nathan launched her own firm, the Agency Group PR. So that's TAG. The Agency Group provides crisis management services to celebrities and other high-profile individuals and companies. Abel and Nathan scheme to use Baldoni's crisis to attack Jones's reputation and steal Jones Works' business. Meat and potatoes here. Let me take a sip. In 2019, Baldoni and Wayfair acquired the film rights to the best-selling novel It Ends With Us, written by Colleen Hoover, an author whose books enjoy a vast and devoted following, especially among young women. In 2023, Baldoni began production on the film's adaptation of It Ends With Us, the film. Wayfair was a co-producer of the film, and Baldoni owned the rights to its source material. Baldoni named himself as the director and male lead of the film, an abusive partner to the female character played by Lively. Later reports emerged that during production, women on set, including Lively, made complaints about Baldoni's behavior toward them, including comments of a sexual nature and inappropriate touching. Jones later learned that the tensions on set had reached such a point that after the Screen Actors Guild strike halted production from July to early November 2023, Lively had only agreed to return to production if Wayfair implemented additional measures to prevent further improper behavior on set by Baldoni. The film was released in August 2024. In connection with the release, the press began reporting on tensions between Baldoni and the female cast and crew on set. According to reports, Baldoni had acted in a controlling, demeaning, and borderline abusive manner toward the cast and crew, especially towards women. The press specifically identified Lively and Hoover as having clashed with Baldoni during filming and speculated on the unusual circumstance that neither Lively nor Hoover were photographed promoting the film together, with Baldoni as evidence of tension. As the August 2024 release neared, Baldoni began to fear that the increased attention being paid to him and the film would cause reports of allegations about his on-set misbehavior to come out. Abel and Nathan, with encouragements from Heath, and without Jones' knowledge or approval, began to formulate a no holds bar strategy to discredit and suppress any potential revelations about Baldoni's onset behavior. Jones, having entrusted the management Jones, having entrusted the management of the Baldoni and Wayfarer relationship to Abel, trusted that any plan Abel formulated on behalf of Jones' work would appropriately reflect the company's integrity and ethos. Unfortunately, the opposite turned out to be true. Behind Jones's back, Abel went around Jones to arrange for Baldoni and Wayfarer to retain Nathan and launch a smear campaign against Lively. Okay. On information and belief, Nathan took advantage of this opportunity to encourage Abel to leave Jones' work, to conspire with Abel to steal Baldoni and Wayfarer as clients from Jones' work, and to smear Jones and Jones' work in the press. On information and belief, Nathan did so because she believed, among other things, that Abel would encourage Nathan's own burgeoning relationship with these and other Jones Works clients, while Jones would not. This scheme ultimately inflicted serious damage on Jones and Jones Works. And it says here, okay, so there is an article, Disturbing Truth Behind Why Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us co-star are feuding with Justin Baldoni, and that was written on August 9th, 2024. Let's see. All right. So there is an article, Disturbing Truth Behind Why Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us stars are feuding with Justin Baldoni. Rumors of a feud between Justin 40. Now, this was published August 9th, 2024, written by James Vitushka and Lillian Jazin for the dailymail.com. A source told dailymail.com Justin was unprofessional and chauvinistic on the set. They claim he focused on what he believed was the abusive male viewpoint. Justin Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us and sparked fury over his refusal to consider the perspectives of co-star Blake Lively's character while filming scenes that depicted abuse, insiders have claimed. Rumors of a vicious feud between Justin 40 and Blake 36 have been swirling for weeks, with online sleuths highlighting how the on-screen love interests were not pictured together at the U.S. premiere, while some cast members have blatantly swerved questions about the director. Now, insiders have revealed the concerning truth about the tensions, telling Daily Mail that Blake and Justin clashed over his dismissive attitude to her input when they were filming scenes that involved abuse. The movie, which hits theaters today, is based off a Colleen Hoover's hit novel of the same name. Follows Blake's Lily Bloom, a floral designer who falls in love with neurosurgeon Raul Kincaid, played by Justin. But soon after they start dating, the romance turns toxic. The insider claimed that Justin only focused on what he believed was the abusive male viewpoint and had a very chauvinistic approach to the topic. During scenes depicting abuse, Justin failed to consider Blake's character's perspective, instead of focusing solely on what he believed was the abusive male's viewpoint, they say. His approach was very chauvinistic, creating a tense atmosphere on set. The source claimed Justin was borderline abusive on set and said he almost became the character. End quote. Quote, Justin almost became the character in the sense that some women on set felt he was borderline abusive to them and that he was unprofessional and unapologetic, end quote. Directing a film so serious and so important about domestic abuse without allowing the women to be included in this process is disturbing. The insider alleged that the actor, who also served as director and producer, quote, failed to recognize both Blake and Colleen's role as fellow producer and writer. They said he took it very personally when the pair asked for some script rewrites. Without Colleen's book, none of this would have been possible, they pointed out. Well, parts of the film were rewritten under the instruction of Colleen. Now we also find out that Ryan Reynolds has, according to the lawsuit, that the Baldoni lawsuit against the New York Times, we find out that Ryan Reynolds was writing parts of this script too, along with Blake Lively. Parts of the film were rewritten under the instructions of Colleen. They had to be. He took their scripts decisions very personally, even though they weren't intended that way. They said things only got worse once he began to feel ganged up on by the women on set. His behavior extended beyond the main players, the source continued. He once felt ganged up on, he became even less empathetic. Now he's speaking praises, likely out of fear that they'll call him out. He knows it's coming and might try to blame his actions on being a method actor. DailyMail.com has contacted representatives for Blake, Justin, and Colleen for comment. Earlier this week, Justin spoke about the difficulties of portraying a domestic violence relationship on screen with CBS This Morning. He admitted that, quote, as a man, he came with his own biases on the topic, but insisted he made sure that the film had a female gaze. As a man, I'm always going to come with my own biases. It's one of the reasons I was afraid to direct this movie, let alone act in it, he said. I wanted to make sure this film always had a female gaze, and I was never putting myself into it. Social media users have been desperately trying to figure out what went down between the stars after sensing some tension between them in the weeks leading up to the highly anticipated film. And then it goes on to say that Blake and Justin didn't pose for any pictures together in New York. All right. So we won't read anything. I apologize, but I had to go through that because I think it just, and let me just show you all really quick what I was reading from. This is the article that I was reading from. It's from the Daily Mail. And again, down here, it's written by Jane Vituska and Lillian Jazin for the Daily Mail. And it was published on August 9th. All right, let's get back. Abel and Nathan devise a smear campaign against Lively to benefit Baldoni and Wayfair. Nathan and Abel's strategy for Baldoni was set forth in part in a 4-page memorandum sent to Baldoni but kept secret from Jones that outlined several potential scenarios at play here, which we should be prepared for should BL, Lively, and her team make her grievances public. And so there's an insert here. It says confidential, scenario planning. It ends with us. Objective. Protect the reputation of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfarer Studios in the lead up, during, and following the premiere of It Ends With Us. Underscore the achievement and efforts of the Wayfarer team in bringing this movie to life, and emphasize Justin and the studio's commitment to their team in making the broader industry a more inclusive space. Overview. Though there are several potential scenarios at play here, which we should be prepared for, should BL and her team make her grievances public, via a blatant story or subtle leak, given that she was made to compromise with the premier. We feel she will move forward with doing so. And this is some insight to the issue, because you remember in Blake Lively's lawsuit, there was this meeting in January with all these lists of things that were supposed to be in place. And so I'm thinking that all of this has a lot to do with that, and all the rewrites and her getting all how Wayfair and Baldoni acquiesced to basically most of her demands, according to what was written in the Baldoni lawsuit, complaint against the New York Times. Ooh, it's a lot. The memo, which along with the overall strategy was kept secret from Jones, explicitly recommending weaponizing Baldoni's perceived history as a, quote, longtime activist and advocate and of and for women in Hollywood, to be used against Lively. And at that same time sought to discredit Lively's negative onset experience with Baldoni by painting her in the press as the one who had weaponized feminism for her own benefit. And I guess this is more so of the letter. Here's three extra bullet points. JB has been a longtime activist and advocate of and for women in Hollywood, speaking out about challenges his colleagues faced before the Me Too movement even began. And this was in his TED Talk in 2017. These pieces will likely come out following any potential hit piece and or coverage from the premiere. Our recommended approach would be to provide reporters who reach out for comment, should it be obvious she's referring to you, with the appropriate background information listed in scenario 1 to ensure their stories are balanced and that the speculation can be turned to another one of the many people she had issues working with. They naming names, child. Is that Leighton Meester, Anna Kendrick, and Ben Affleck, etc.? Wait a minute. They're spilling some tea that we didn't know nothing about. I didn't know anything about. As part of this, our team can also explore planning stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, they name drop the Swifties gonna be sick. You can't name drop Taylor Swift, and just watching how fan bases are with these young people. It's like, Rihanna has the Navy, they ride for her. Taylor Swift has the Swifties. Beyonce has the Bayhive. And there's one more. Nicki Minaj's, what is Nicki Minaj's little group? I can't think of what their name is right now, but all of those fan bases can be, if you see what you see, especially on X, which formerly known as Twitter, or if you watch under different posts of Instagram, they can be quite nasty, and it doesn't take much to rile them up. A lot of critical thinking goes out of the window, apparently, with these particular fan bases. Yet this aggressive strategy was apparently still not tough enough for Baldoni, who texted Abel and Heath that he was not in love with the document Nathan sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. Abel relayed Baldoni's concern to Nathan, telling Nathan that Baldoni needed a stronger showing of strength, explaining, from redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted Jennifer Melissa Nathan. You can, of course, do that, but I do think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something he's texting me and Jamie on the side just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. Of course, but when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we can't send over the work we yeah, of course. But when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we will or could do because that could get us in a lot of trouble. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. We will go, we will go to this. We will do this. We will do this. We will do this. From Jennifer Abel to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner to redacted Melissa Nathan. Of course not. But I told him that's the point of talking through. From redacted Jennifer Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel. He has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with that's all. Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. We can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him. I will be very tough. In the days that followed, Baldoni and Heath made clear to Abel that they expected Abel and Nathan's strategy to include a social media activation plan, and Abel and Nathan immediately complied in its implementation. Nathan and Abel behind the scenes effort for Baldoni and Heath also included frantically working to squash emerging media reports about certain human resources complaint that had been filed against Baldoni in connection with the film. So let's read this little bullet thing. So it says here, for example, on August 5th, 2024, Baldoni sent Abel a screenshot of an attack campaign against Hailey Bieber, painting her as having a history of bullying many women, and told Abel, this is what we need against Lively. On information and belief, Nathan and Abel also used their industry connections to plant negative articles about Lively in press outlets, including the Daily Mail and the New York Post page 6, and leveraged their teams to create and perpetuate negative content about Lively on social media platforms such as Reddit and TikTok. For example, Abel closely coordinated with Page 6 reporter Sarah Nathan, Melissa Nathan's sister, to publish an article hostile toward Lively's role in the production of the film. Nathan and Abel enthusiastically supported strategy that Baldoni and Heath wanted and deliberately hid from Jones in order to ingratiate themselves with Baldoni and Heath, drive a wedge between Baldoni and Jones, and ultimately steal Baldoni and Wayfarer from Jones as clients. For her part, who was kept in the dark about this coordinating strategy and was not aware that Wayfarer had actively approved and participated in it, objected to Wayfarer's hiring of Nathan and advocating a positive press strategy instead, Wayfarer's president immediately reported Jones's comment to Abel. From redacted Tara Hanks to redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. Text from Stephanie about the HR article and us hiring Melissa for crisis. This quote, this was not planned by Leslie. Now, Leslie names keeps coming up. This Leslie name keeps coming up. This Leslie, what's her name? I can't think of what Leslie's last name is, but her name came up in the complaint Justin filed with the New York Times. This wasn't planned by Leslie. This playbook this is playbook by Melissa. There was no New York Post story she kept at bay. Melissa's sister works at Page Six. We need to flood zones with positive press and push back on claims. There is no counter to claim in stories. His complimentary sound bites of Blake need to be covered on a high, what is that, SEO sites? Excluding Jones from the conversation, he flatly rejected any pivot to a positive strategy in a text to Abel, suggesting that Jones should be shut out for undermining their strategy. He called Jones's influence on the situation poison. Because if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't realize nor realize that when I was reading the complaint that Justin Baldoni did to the New York Times, that when he was complaining about Stephanie in this, I didn't realize she was the one that owned the Crisis PR firm. It made it seem like she was an employee of another form. I mean, and that's how I read it. If that's not how, if that's how. All right. All right. So I see some of you on here. Would you all do me a favor? Because I just got a little notice about my browser. Have you all been have I been coming through? Was there any glitches or anything like that? Let me know if it has glitched or if you've missed something that I have read, and I'll be more than happy to go back over it. Just give me a quick, just let me know. Have you all been seeing me consistently and hearing what I've said to you all? I've been reading to you all. Y'all let me know. Okay, it looks like I'm still on. All right, I'm going to continue because it looks like I'm still operating. All right, let me continue. Excluding Jones from the conversation, he flatly rejected any pivot to a positive strategy in a text to Abel, suggesting that Jones should be shut out for undermining their strategy. He called Jones' influence on the situation poison. From redacted Jamie Heath to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. I don't like the idea that there is continued cannibalization from within the same side, meaning Jones' work, i.e. Stephanie, and the crisis team. I only want us to be communicating with people who are working together and not with ones who are undermining others within our team. Stephanie is casting doubt, and that can have an effect like poison. I'm going to bed. A first for me and forever. Let's chat more tomorrow about this. Abel and Nathan drive a wedge between Jones and Baldoni and attack Jones's reputation in the press. At the same time as pandering to Baldoni and Heath's desire to discredit Lively, Abel and Nathan were also furthering their own profit-driven agenda to attack and disparage Jones, using many of the same tactics they were using against Lively. in order to eliminate Jones as a competitor and siphon away her clients for themselves. Ironically, Abel and Nathan recognized that their success on both fronts reflected a societal desire to tear down successful women like Lively and Jones, but they remained undeterred in their agenda. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. It's actually sad because it just shows you have people really wanting to hate on women. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted Melissa Nathan. I know it's sad, but then don't be a cunt. Abel's trashing of women even extended to Nathan herself, whom she had privately badmouthed just months before cynically hitching her star to Nathan to steal from Jones. From all of that's been redacted to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. MN kind of talks out of both sides of her mouth. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted, you think? From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted, she's a piece of shit. From Jennifer Abel owner to redacted, I honestly used to like her and now I see her for how she really is. How is she really? Excuse me. Working together, Nathan and Abel's stated goal in all of this was to position themselves to be able to steal Wayfair, Baldoni, and other clients from Jones' work to the new firm Abel was planning to form, so that those clients could then be serviced jointly by both Abel and Nathan's new firms instead of Jones' work. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. I know. And once you're gone, we will be on accounts together and make really good money and be happy. Abel and Nathan explicitly discussed their plans to steal Wayfair and Baldoni away from Jones' work. From redacted Melissa Nathan to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. Let's just keep it steering that way, and you take this effing client and never talk to her again. I swear to God. Whew. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted Melissa Nathan. Exactly. As Nathan made plain, really good money was the motivating force behind this scheme. Not any special affection for Baldoni or Wayfair. Indeed, Abel's candid communication outside of Baldoni and Heath's view, made it clear that at the same time, she was working to salvage Baldoni's reputation and steal his business. She actually held Baldoni personally in extremely low regard. For example, when a colleague describes an article about a kissing scene between Baldoni and Lively as gross, Abel responded, "It's so cringy." His face, we read that earlier. And Blake was probably grossed out too. So this is from Jennifer, redacted Jennifer Abel owner to whomever, because it's been redacted, same thing. And then from the person that it was redacted, it says to Blake was probably grossed out too. Okay. Then months later, Abel was even more explicit in her disdain for Baldoni. This is interesting. This is what we need. You know, I was talking about the meat and potatoes. Here we go. From redacted Jennifer Abel owner to redacted. I can't stand him. He's so pompous. A men's retreat during release. Is he crazy? And being off the grid for the summer because he's just so overworked. Like, calm down. You're not that important and nobody gives a shit about how hard you work, how hard your life is. From Jennifer Abel owner to redacted. And what covers he's doing? At this point, none, because he's not a star. From redacted Jennifer Abel to redacted. He doesn't need a retreat. He needs to be humbled. When this movie flops, he's going to try to blame every person around him for it. Hold on, y'all. All right. So it says here, I'm reading Box Office Mojo. It says it ends with us 2024. Let's see. It doesn't give me the budget, but domestically it made 148,586,266. That's 148 million. So I'm just going to say 149 million dollars. Internationally, it made 203 million dollars. So for a total, this movie made 350 million dollars, 351 million dollars. Wow. So it had a budget of $25 million and it made $351 million worldwide. So with all of this crap going on in this movie, they made a considerable amount of money. All right, let's continue. So the movie did as far as the box office, because 3 times, because usually they consider a movie a success when it makes 2 to 3 times the amount that it was budgeted for. So it was budgeted for $25 million. I have no idea who Stephanie Jones is. Stephanie Jones was the owner of the Jones Works. She was part of the crisis management team for Baldoni, and she's filing a lawsuit against her former employees plus Baldoni because she's saying that they iced her out of that deal, that she was getting $25,000 a month from Wayfarer Studios. She says she was iced out of that deal by her employees, and then they turned around and started their own company and poached Baldoni and Wayfarer away from her. So she is suing because she's saying that they poached her clients, which was a breach of an NDA they signed and a non-competing clause that they signed. And she's also suing Baldoni and Baldoni's production company because she's saying that they haven't completed their contractual obligation to pay her through May, that they renegotiated their contract in May of 2024, and they subsequently ended that contract or said that they've gone with a new agency. And she says that they are contractually obligated to pay her through the end of May. So a lot of this, from what I'm seeing with these lawsuits, with these 3 lawsuits, PR is very, very, very much entwined. Look, it seems, and I could be wrong, professionally and personally, there's a whole lot of entwining going on. And now I'm starting to realize that how cutthroat the PR business is, because they can be used to uplift you, and they could be used to tear you down, and just depending on who's paying the more money for them to be able to do such things. And I was trying to go back real clearly to see if there was some kind of connection between all of these different parties. Because to me, the way they're operating and things like that, getting new clients seems to be hard and cutthroat. So if you can get a production company as a client, that's that's almost like a retainer. That's really good money that's coming in to your company. But it also seems like these PR firms uh, spring shutter and spring up overnight as well. But I'm just this is very interesting, and I'm trying to find connections too, because there's some things that are confusing me, because I didn't understand why she was suing Baldoni. We talked about why Break Lively was suing, but I didn't see, and then he's suing the New York Times. We haven't seen anything, and I haven't looked past this before I started going over this document. I haven't looked to see if there's any more information, because I know that the last thing that I saw when right after this dropped is that there were more lawsuits coming from Baldoni, but I don't know if anything has materialized as of now. To further their plan, Abel and Nathan contrived a plan to plant stories in the media outlets, including the Daily Mail and Business Insider, to trash Jones and Jones' Works' reputation publicly into their clients. They also back-channeled with Wayfarer and Baldoni to paint Jones in a negative light. For example, following the premiere of the film, the Daily Mail published an article reporting on the tension between Baldoni and Lively, and we read that. That article relied exclusively on a social media post that had been identified for Abel earlier that same day. Either a shocking coincidence or confirmation that Abel had planted the story. On information and belief, Abel and Nathan conspired to plant the story in the Daily Mail in pursuit of dual objectives. First, the negative story cemented Baldoni's need for Nathan's crisis management services, ensuring herself an ongoing paycheck. Wait a minute. She's saying that they planted these stories. Am I reading that correctly, chat? Am I reading this correctly? To further their plan, I'm going to read it again. Abel, excuse me, Abel and Nathan contrived to plant stories in the media outlets, including the Daily Mail and Business Insider, to trash Jones and Jones' Works' reputation publicly and to their clients. They also back-channeled with Wayfarer and Baldoni to paint Jones in a negative light. For example, following the premiere of the film, the Daily Mail published an article reporting on the tensions between Baldoni and Lively. That article relied exclusively on social media posts that had been identified for Abel earlier the same day. Either a shocking coincidence or confirmation that Abel had planted the story. On information and belief, Abel and Nathan conspired to plant the story in the Daily Mail in pursuit of dual objectives. First, the negative story cemented Baldoni's need for Nathan's crisis management services, ensuring herself an ongoing paycheck. Second, they arranged for Baldoni and Wayfarer to believe that Jones was the cited insider, and also created a false story that Jones had publicly blamed Lively for the article, thus sowing discord between Baldoni and Wayfarer on the one hand and Jones on the other. I read that right. So she's basically saying they played both hands to the middle. They planted a story that's going to put Baldoni in a bad light. And then plus that particular story that they planted was going to be made sure that it looked like Jones planted, because at that point, from my understanding, they were still working with Jones' work. Y'all talk about some cutthroat. That's cutthroat. That is cutthroat. If this is cutthroat. I'm glad I started to read this, because I'm starting to get a feeling about all of these different text messages and stuff like that. You know what I really wish? I wish somebody had the genius to just take all of these text messages, put it on a timeline so we can read when all these text messages happened. So let's get going. Number 69, the scheme worked. When the article was published, at first, key players in the film's release, including Josh Greenstein, the president of Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group, believed correctly that Abel was the person responsible for the story. From redacted Josh Greenstein to redacted Jennifer Abel. Hi, Jen. Been informed you have been speaking to sites about bad blood between Blake and Justin. He was good on today's show. If a negative story breaks, it would hurt the movie. John Scristo. But Abel denied being the source and instead falsely told Sony Communications team that Jones was the leak. This false allegation stuck. Rumors that Jones was behind the article began to make their way to Wayfarer, causing Heath to respond with hostility. From redacted James Heath to redacted Stephanie Jones to redacted Tara Hanks to redacted Jennifer Abel owner. I am hearing from Sony that, quote, someone named Stephanie Jones has responded out to Daily Mail saying that Blake is to blame and now this has escalated it all. We were purposely not responding to anything as to not fuel. This has fueled it. Everyone stand down unless I'm aware of any moves. I don't care who is supposed to do what. I am most interested in that. I'm interested only in any strategy being run by me. I need all to understand that. To clarify again, I have not spoken. So who is this? Okay. Stephanie Jones, from redacted Stephanie Jones, redacted Jamie Heath, redacted Tara Hanks, to Jennifer Abel owner. To clarify again, I have not spoken to Daily Mail. The above isn't true. I also don't believe Danny or Kim at Sony are saying that above. Quote, also has spaces as if it was just being drafted. And then it says, Stephanie, as your client and the one who pays for the services, I am stating to not contact anyone regarding Wayfarer or Sony at this time. If you do that, this text will be a major problem. This needs to be respected now. Baby, that's your $25,000 per month talking to you. But let's continue. So basically what I see that's happening is a story was planted. Stephanie Jones is saying that Jennifer Abel and the Nathan woman were the ones that planted the story. It gets to Sony, and Sony believes, Sony doesn't care. Sony doesn't want any bad stories because they don't want anything that's going to hurt the movie. And Stephanie is saying that Jennifer was the one that planted the story, and she's playing both sides to the middle. She planted the story so that she can continue to have Baldoni as a client, and also planted that story to be able to get rid of Stephanie as her boss. Ooh, some diabolical work going on if all of this is true. Some diabolical work. Heath went a step further and threatened Jones directly that he would issue a public press release stating that Baldoni and Wayfarer have terminated Jones' work if she took any steps to contact Sony or others to clear her name. Excuse me. Menacingly reminding her that she didn't need that kind of negative publicity for herself and her business. Now, to me, just reading this, I mean, he's the one paying the $25,000. Somebody leaked some information to Sony, and somebody leaked some information to the press. So it's just a matter of who did what, when, and how. Because it doesn't seem like the Daily Mail got this information just out the air. Somebody leaked something. So it is a matter of who leaked what and when. On August 9th, 2024, the Daily Mail published another article, this time reporting on Baldoni's abusive on-set behavior, citing insiders as the source for the article. On information and belief, Abel and Nathan conspired to plant this story in further pursuit of their goal to cement Baldoni's and Wayfarer's need for Nathan's services and turn them against Jones. Heath and Abel bragged about the success of this strategy, jokingly referring to the leak as being, quote, the best decision, a press trip that Abel and Nathan were accompanying Heath and Wayfarer on, in which Jones did not attend. So it says here, it's redacted, Jamie Heath to Jennifer Abel. Best decision of this whole trip, 20 rows separated from the leak. In parallel with their efforts in the Daily Mail, on information and belief, Abel and Nathan contrived to have Business Insider publish a hostile article about Jones, which was intended to encourage Wayfarer and Baldoni and other JonesWorks clients to want to end their relationship with Jones and to weaken JonesWorks business. Indeed, as early as July 29th, 2024, Abel and Nathan were coordinating their outreach to Katie Warren, the Business Insider reporter who eventually published the article attacking Jones. From redacted Jennifer Abel, owner. It must be the telephone numbers to Blake. I'm thinking maybe that's the telephone. They're redacting the telephone numbers to because it's saying from an owner. It just hit and clicked me. They must be talking about the telephone numbers. But let's continue because I'm going to stop saying redacted and just put the names. But I'm thinking that it's the telephone numbers. You know, it just takes a couple of sips of caffeine to get you going. Did you by chance chat with Katie, the journo? From Melissa to Jennifer? No, she's calling me soon. Actually, should be very soon, probably in the next 20 minutes, next 10 minutes. On information and belief in the subsequent 2 weeks, Abel and Nathan fed information to Warren to ensure that she moved forward with the article and that it was sufficiently critical of Jones. The contact between Abel and Warren included a 27-minute phone call on July 30th and several phone calls on August 1st and August 12th. Abel also facilitated Warren's outreach to former clients of Jones to further disrupt JonesWorks business. From Jennifer Abel, owner, to, and it was all redacted. FYI, Katie is going to try you again by phone to confirm if blank is a client. From Jennifer Abel, to, all redacted. I would definitely call her ASAP and say off record. She's not, and to not have her included in the piece. This client, with whom Jones had worked closely for years, bringing her from obscurity to prominence, terminated her contract with Jones as a direct result of Abel's encouragement and deliberate interference. In addition, on August 9th, 2024, Abel suggested and asked for Heath's approval to try to get Business Insider to remove reference to a letter of support for Jones that Baldoni had previously written, and to falsely tell Warren that Baldoni and Wayfarer had terminated their relationship with JonesWorks when they had not. From Jennifer Abel to Jamie Heath. Just thought about something. Should I try to get Justin's letter removed from Business Insider? From Jennifer Abel to Jamie Heath. I would need to tell her on background that both Justin and Wayfarer have severed ties. So not sure if your lawyers would recommend that, as she would need to print that, and not sure if that would cause any issues. On August 12, 2024, just 3 days before the article was published, Business Insider's Warren asked Abel to call her back. From Katie Warren to Jennifer Abel. Hi, would you mind giving me a call back when you have a minute? Just have a quick question. Abel called Warren 11 minutes later, the day before the article was published. Nathan texted Abel boasting about the destructive effect it would have on Jones and mockingly suggests that Abel should tell Jones. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel. Stephanie, are you aware that there is a kill story dropping this week on you? And if you hadn't have blown us up, we would not have been in such a bad place. Immediately before the article was published, Nathan texted Abel that she just got a text from my source to say that article is going live imminently. When Abel asked which article Nathan was referring or was referencing, Nathan responded, "I just shook my head at your response. The only article," Abel responded, "Oh crap, that article." Warren then texted Abel the minute the article was published to alert her that it had gone live. From Katie Warren to Jennifer Abel. Story is up. Thanks again for your help. From Katie Warren to Jennifer Abel. And she gives her a link to the article. Immediately after the article was published, Abel texted Nathan a link to it. Abel also sent the article directly to numerous industry contacts, including many of Jones's clients and employees and several Abel's industry friends and other industry publicists. The article, published by Business Insider on August 15, 2024, was highly critical of Jones, including by referencing and amplifying the anonymous disparaging website, Stephanie Jones Leak, which had been recently posted online by the John Doe defendants, and accusing Jones of having a reputation for aggression and having recently been dropped by high-profile clients. Given that Wayfarer and Baldoni were longtime clients of Jones' work, the clear and false implication of the article was that Jones was responsible for the aggressive media tactics that were being employed by Baldoni against Lively. Unsurprisingly, the negative article about Jones shared a strikingly similar tone with the negative coverage against Lively appearing in the press at the same time. In the same vein as the gendered, quote-unquote, mean girl coverage about Lively that followed, the weaponizing feminism script set out in the strategy memo. The Jones article was premised on the same principles, manifesting an equally sexist critique of Jones, who was cast as a tyrannical boss who could quickly turn combative rather than a successful executive in a high-profile, high-pressure role. This article negative repercussions on Jones's business, and negatively impacted Jones's standing and connection with Jones' Works clients, made them more vulnerable to poaching by competitors like Nathan and Abel. Just days later, on August 25th, 2024, Business Insider turned the media storm surrounding Baldoni and Jones more pointedly to Nathan's advantage, publishing a second article that favorably touted Baldoni's hiring of Nathan to shepherd him through this crisis. The article, which on information and belief was again orchestrated by Nathan, noted that the negative attention on Lively was a gift to Baldoni. In parallel with these articles, John Doe's 1 through 10, who on information and belief were acting in concert with Abel and Nathan, published 2 false and defamatory websites about Jones and Jones' work. The websites, first in the summer of 2024, the Doe defendants created and posted the webpage www.stephaniejonesleaks.com, which was hosted by Hostinger International Ltd. Then, after that website was taken down, on or around September 2024, the Doe defendants created and posted the webpage www.stephaniejoneslies.com, which is hosted by Namecheap Inc. and still remains publicly available. Both websites were viewed and continue to be viewed by numerous third parties, including residents of New York County. Both websites contain substantially identical, false, harassing, and defamatory statements about Jones and Jones' work, including but not limited to statements that A, Jones bullied Jones' work employees, Jones and Jones' work interfered with the employment prospects of former Jones' work employees, Jones and Jones' work leaked confidential client information, Jones and Jones' work coerced clients into taking action that are not in those clients' best interests, Jones and Jones' work interfered with their clients' ability to do business. Each of these statements is false. On information and belief, the Doe defendants published the defamatory statements on the websites with knowledge of their falsity or, at a minimum, with reckless disregard for the truth, with the specific intent to harm Jones and Jones' work in their business by causing them to incur reputational harm and lose clients. All the while, Abel has been making arrangements to leave Jones' work with confidential information and clients in tow. On July 19, 2024, while still employed by Jones' work, Abel filed paperwork to create WRA Communications LLC, the competing public relations agency she intended to start up after departure from Jones' work. Abel had also created a website and social media accounts for her new competing firm, all while still employed and under contract with Jones' work. At least as early as July 20th, 2024, Abel had created a new email account, Jennifer@wracommunications.com, to which she forwarded dozens of proprietary messages from Jones' work, including client information, Jones' work product, and information specifically regarding Jones' work for Wayfair and Baldoni. Abel successfully hid her theft of confidential documents and information. That seems quite stupid. Knowing that you've signed a contract saying that non-disclosure, but you send your information to your account, your new account at Jennifer at you send the information at a new account. Okay, let's continue. Abel successfully hid her theft of confidential documents and information. Abel surreptitiously continued stealing documents and client information while also secretly contacting Jonesworth clients to pave the way for her departure. As her planned departure neared, Abel boasted to Nathan about the damage she was doing to Jonesworth and her then current employer, and Nathan goaded her on it. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan, we are going to war. I feel so alive. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel, going out of JW with the bang. Indeed, when Jonesworks information technology personnel disabled Abel's access to Jonesworks servers after discovering her unauthorized downloading activity, Abel boasted that she will still be able to steal all the documents and information she needed to form her own competing firm. From Alice Jessup to Jennifer Abel. Oof, did you get everything you needed before she did all of that? From Jennifer Abel to Alicia Jessup. Yes, pretty much. I have my way around that SHIT because I have like 100,000 of different emails for each domain that I own, so she can suck it. Abel further coordinated with Nathan and Baldoni to ensure that Wayfarer and Baldoni would leave Jones' Works and come with her as clients to her newly created RWA Communications. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel. Just had a nice conversation with Justin, just him and me. I explained to him a few things and my conversation with Leslie. He's like, don't help her. I'm like, I'm not helping her. I'm telling her what we are not doing, and she needs to also not do anything. And my last conversation with her was last Wednesday or so. And then I couldn't help myself. And I'm just going to step out of line before I go to bed and tell you, Jen is amazing. She's so loyal. She loves you so much, and you have to go with her. And he was like, oh my God, of course, I'm going with her. Don't kill me. Okay, bye. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan, haha, OMG, love you. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan, thanks for chatting with him. On or about August 21st, 2024, because y'all remember, and why all these people are going back and forth and having a thing. I read this earlier. I hope I still have it up. That film was budgeted for $25 million. And this is not including prints and advertising. So even with prints and advertising, let's say that they had, let's add an extra $10 million. That's for the S and G's of it all. So even still, they made $351 million worldwide. Their opening weekend, they made that money back. The opening weekend, they made $50 million. So there is a lot of money on the line. And as a public relations team or company, people are really wanting to be on Wayfair. People are really wanting to be, because you think about it, that company, Sony, probably put up what, $20 million? They paid Sony back plus some. So as the producer, and what's his name, Justin Baldoni, being the owner of the rights, he's probably made a considerable amount of money on that. The publishing company has made a considerable, his production company has made a considerable amount of money. So I'm not a sides person, so I don't fall on anybody's side. But what I do see is this reputation is everything. And whoever's reputation seems to be shining, seems like they will be in a better position to make money on the sequel, because apparently there's going to be a part 2, or it's in talks for a part 2. Because if that first movie made $350 million, they'll probably add another, I don't know, $35 million. So the next movie may have a $55 million budget, and they're hoping that they'll make anywhere from $350 to $400 million on the movie. And if you go back through the other lawsuits, you know that Blake Lively had a PGA stamp on it. And so she was a producer. Baldoni was a producer, director, and actor. His company was going to be making money. Sony Pictures is going to be making money. So now you're looking at, so all of those, these are all these players that have the ability to make money. And so on that side over there, you have Baldoni and Lively battling it between each other, trying to make sure that whoever comes on top has the rights to make the second movie, because it's all behind some money. All of this is my opinion of what's going on. So now you have PR firms looking at the fact that, hey, our reputation is everything. And I believe that we're going to forego all of this flowers and perfume that these companies are doing, and they only want to do the righteous things. No, they are doing what they need to do for their client. So they're going to be cutthroat with each other. Now what's happening is $25,000 a month is on the line. Let's be clear. $25,000 a month is on the line. So if you're a company and you have the ability to have $25,000 a month, plus any other extra expenses that you want to have, that's lucrative. That's juicy. Let's continue reading. Let's see, we're on 38. On or about August 21st, 2024, Jones learned about Abel's ongoing efforts to steal dozens and dozens of Jones Works proprietary documents, including sensitive client and business information that Abel had no legitimate reason to access, including for major brand and clients that Abel never worked with. Abel went so far as to download and copy the Jones Work client contract firm, except she replaced the Jones Work logo with the logo for her only newly formed business. Jones Work immediately terminated Abel. Not stealing the templates. As part of her termination paperwork, Abel falsely signed a statement purporting to confirm that she had not removed any electronic confidential information from Jones' work, but of course she had, and this signed statement was untrue. The damage was done. With the encouragement and assistance of Nathan Baldoni, Heath, Abel stole Wayfarer and Baldoni as clients, targeted other Jones clients to leave, and launched the long planned and competing RWA Communications. As a result, Wayfarer and Baldoni ceased working with Jones Work, and despite being under contract with Jones Work, refused to pay Jones Work what they contractually owed for its service. Even on the day she departed Jones Work, April proudly admitted to Nathan that she was shaking Jones down to extract as much as she could from the company before her departure. Jennifer Abel owner to Melissa Nathan. By the way, I'm having my offboarding this morning with our chief of staff, a joke because Steph won't face me. And you should see the list I made of things to bring up. From Melissa to Jennifer, I need the list. From Jennifer to Melissa, holding them hostage. From Jennifer to Melissa, it's wild. From Melissa to Jennifer, exactly how business should be done. Nor was Abel content to only steal documents, clients, and confidential information from Jones' work. On August 14, 2024, Abel also attempted to encourage Nathan to poach a valuable Jones' work employee. From Jennifer to Melissa Nathan. Blank wants 200K. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan. He will come work for you. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan, told you he was pricey. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer, do you think you serious and he would do it? Abel also encouraged at least 6 other Jones Work employees working for her in the Los Angeles office, almost half of Jones Work's employees at that office, to leave the company, including by bad-mouthing Jones to those employees and sending the employees' resumes to competing public relations firms. As a direct result of these actions, 2 of these employees ended their contract with Jones Work and left to work for competitors. On information and belief, since being terminated from Jones Work, Abel has continued attacking Jones within the industry, using her tried and true playbook to preemptively discredit any sources that might shed light on her own misdeeds. Abel has falsely stated to other participants in the public relation industry that Jones was attempting to distribute doctored text messages purporting to be from Abel as retaliation for Abel's departure. She also tried again to point the finger at Jones as cover for her own role in the campaign against Lively becoming public. But Jones has never doctored any text messages and has no reason to do so. Abel's text messages were forensically extracted directly from the company's phone that Abel used during her employment at Jones Work and voluntarily returned to Jones Work upon her termination in the presence of an employment lawyer, Jones Work's chief of staff, and an IT specialist, and have been preserved in their original state. And has become glaringly apparent the text messages are themselves enough to condemn Abel and Nathan without any need for doctoring. The misconduct by Abel, Nathan, Baldoni, and Wayfarer has had a significant negative effect on Jones and Jones Works' business and reputation. And Jones' good faith effort to resolve this out of court have been met with resistance, and the campaign of misinformation against her has not stopped. As a result, Jones and Jones Works have been left with no choice but to bring this lawsuit to seek redress for this misconduct and to remedy the damage done. First cause of action, breach of contract, Abel employment agreement against defendant Jennifer Abel. Jones and Jones Work incorporate each and every allegation set forth above as if they were fully set forth herein. Jones Work and Able are parties to the Able Employment Agreement, which is a valid and enforceable contract. Under the Able Employment Agreement, Able agreed, among other things, that one, she will hold in strict confidence and trust for the sole benefit of Jones Work all the confidential and proprietary information, and that all business and plans made known to her while employed by Jones Work are the permanent and exclusive property of Jones Work. She would not use any company proprietary information to solicit, induce, or attempt to solicit or induce any business from any of the company's existing clients, employees, referral sources, or business contract. During her employment and for 6 months following the date of any termination, she would not compete with Jones Work or engage in or any business that is in direct competition in any manner whatsoever with Jones Work, and during the employment term, Jones Work was entitled to her loyalty, including acting in the best interest of Jones Work. Able breached the Able Employment Agreement through her actions as described in this complaint, including by, among other things, one, failing to hold the confidential information for the sole benefit of Jones Work, and by soliciting confidential information from at least one Jones Works employee after her termination. Using her confidential information to solicit, induce, or attempt or to solicit or induce business from Jones Works clients and business contacts. 3, directly competing with Jones Work in the 6 months following her departure from Jones Work, including by starting a competing company and poaching and attempting to poach Jones Work clients. 4, soliciting and inducing and using confidential information to solicit or induce other Jones Work employees to leave Jones Work and or become employed by her or other competing firms. I'm wondering, and y'all let me know, I'm wondering, you think that article also had something to do with her employees leaving? Regardless who set forth that article, wouldn't that article have something? Because that would mean that if clients were leaving, your employees at that office would leave because there would be no work for them. Well, let's continue. 5, breaching her duty of loyalty to Jones Work by working against the interests of Jones and Jones Work during her period of employment. Jones and Jones Work have substantially performed the Able Employment Agreement or were excused from doing so because of the actions of Able. Able's breaches the Able Employment Agreement proximity and directly caused monetary damage to Jones and Jones Works in an amount determined at trial. Second cause of action, tortious interference with contract, Able Employment Agreement against defendant Melissa Nathan, Wayfarer, and Justin Baldoni. Jones and Jones Works incorporate each and every allegation set forth above as if they were fully set forth in. Jones Work and Able are parties to the Able Employment Agreement, which is a valid and enforceable contract. Under the Able Employment Agreement, Able agreed, among other things, that one, she would hold in strict confidence and trust for the sole benefit of Jones Work and all confidential and proprietary information, and that all business and plans made known to her while employed by Jones Work are the permanent and exclusive property of Jones Work. She would not use any company proprietary information to solicit, induce, or attempt to solicit or induce any business from any of the company's existing clients, employees, and referral sources or business contacts. During her employment and for 6 months following the date of any termination, she would not compete with Jones Work or engage in or participate in any business that is in direct competition in any manner whatsoever with Jones Work. And 4, during the employment term, Jones Work was entitled to her loyalty, including in the best interest of Jones Work. Nathan Wayfarer and Baldoni were aware that Abel was employed by Jones Work, and on information and belief were aware that Abel employment was governed by a contract containing industry standard terms such as those described above. Nathan and Baldoni and Wayfarer induced, encouraged, and procured Abel's breach of the Abel employment agreement without justification, including by, among other things, one, breaching her duty of loyalty to Jones Work by working against the best interests of Jones and Jones Work during her period of employment, and two, encouraging and inducing Abel to violate the non-compete, non-solicitation, and confidentiality provision of the agreement. Nathan Baldoni and Wayfarer, in bad faith, intentionally procured, caused, and facilitated Abel's breach of the Abel employment agreement. Jones and Jones Work have substantially performed the Abel employment agreement or were accused from doing so because of the actions of Nathan, Wayfarer, and Baldoni. The intentional interference by Nathan, Baldoni, and Wayfarer with the Abel employment agreement was willful, wanton, malicious, and or in bad faith, or undertaken through improper means, warranting an award of punitive damages in the amount to be determined at trial. We're almost through, y'all. Got about 10 more pages. Third cause of action, breach of contract, Wayfarer agreement against defendants Wayfarer Studios and Justin Baldoni. Jones and Jones Work Incorporate each and every allegation set forth above as if they were fully set forth herein. Jones Works, Wayfarer, and Baldoni are partners of the Wayfarer agreement, which is a valid and enforceable contract. Jones is Jones Worth designee under the Wayfarer agreement. Under the Wayfarer agreement, in exchange for services provided by Jones Work, Wayfarer and Baldoni agreed to pay Jones Work a sum of $25,000 a month. Additionally, Wayfarer and Baldoni agreed, among other things, that during the terms of the contract and for 1 year following its expiration or termination, they would not solicit or attempt to solicit for employment any officer, employee, or agent of Jones Work, or to employ or attempt to employ or otherwise induce or attempt to induce any employee of Jones Work to terminate such employee's employment or engagement with Jones Work without prior written consent. In May 2024, the Wayfarer agreement automatically renewed. At no time in the required 90 days before the automatic renewal did either party provide notice of termination, nor did Wayfarer or Baldoni provide notice of any material breach of the Wayfarer agreement. The agreement has therefore not been validly terminated, and Wayfarer and Baldoni are obligated to pay Jones Work $25,000 a month through May 6, 2025, and are similarly obligated to comply with the full terms of the Wayfarer agreement through May 2025. On or about August 30th, 2024, a representative of Wayfarer informed Jones that Wayfarer and Baldoni will no longer require Jones's service and thereafter refuse to pay all amounts owed under the Wayfarer agreement. Wayfarer and Baldoni have breached the Wayfarer agreement through their actions as described in this complaint, including by, among other things, failing to pay the amount contractually owed under the agreement, soliciting and inducing Abel to depart Jones Work, and 3, employing Abel following her departure from Jones Work. Jones Work has substantially performed the Wayfarer agreement or was excused from doing so because of the actions of Wayfarer and Baldoni. Wayfarer and Baldoni breaches of the Wayfarer agreement, Wayfarer and Baldoni's breaches of the Wayfarer agreement proximately and directly caused monetary damages to Jones and Jones Work in the amount to be determined at trial. Fourth cause of action, tortious interference with contract, Wayfarer agreement against defendant Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan. Jones and Jones Work incorporate each and every allegation set forth above as if they were set they were fully set forth herein. Jones and Jones Work, Baldoni, and Wayfair are parties to the Wayfair Agreement, which is valid and an enforceable contract. Among other things, the Wayfair Agreement requires Wayfair and Baldoni to pay Jones Works $25,000 a month, including from May 24th through May 25th. Additionally, Wayfair and Baldoni agreed that during the term of the contract and for 1 year following its expiration or termination, they would not solicit or attempt to solicit for employment any Jones Works employee. Abel. Hi, Ernest. Abel and Nathan were aware of the Wayfarer agreement and each induced, encouraged, and procured Wayfarer's and Baldoni's breach of the Wayfarer agreement without justification, including by encouraging Wayfarer and Baldoni to cease paying Jones Work and instead hire Abel and Nathan, and by encouraging Wayfarer and Baldoni to violate the non-solicitation provision of the agreement. Abel and Nathan, in bad faith, intentionally procured and facilitated Wayfarer's and Baldoni's breach of the Wayfarer's agreement. But for the misconduct of Abel and Nathan, Wayfarer and Baldoni would not have breached the Wayfarer agreement. Abel and Nathan's intentional interference with the Wayfarer agreement was willful, wanton, malicious, and or in bad faith, or undertaken through improper means warranting an award of punitive damages in the amount to be determined at trial. Abel and Nathan's intentional interference with the Wayfarer agreement proximately and directly caused monetary damages to Jones and Jones Work in the amount determined at trial. Fifth, the cause, faithless servant against defendant Jennifer Abel. Jones and Jones Work incorporate each and every allegation set forth as if they were fully set forth herein. Abel was an employee of Jones Works from July 20th through August 21st, 2024, and during that period owed Jones Work a duty of loyalty. Abel breached her duty of loyalty to Jones Work through her actions as described in this complaint, including by, among other things, 1, acting against the best interest of Jones Work, including by working to undermine and damage Jones and Jones Works' business and reputation, accessing and using and taking for her own purposes and against the company's interests, Jones Work, proprietary documents and information, and soliciting, inducing, and encouraging Jones Work employees and clients to terminate their relationship with Jones Work. This conduct was intended to and did, in fact, advance Abel's own interests to the detriment of Jones and Jones Work. The foregoing breaches were willful, wanton, and in bad faith. Abel's faithless service proximately and directly caused monetary damages to Jones Work in an amount to be proven at trial. Sixth cause, breach of fiduciary duty against defendant Jennifer Abel. So Jennifer Abel is getting it always. She's getting it always. Jones and Jones Worth Incorporate each and every allegation set forth above as if they were fully set forth herein. Abel was an employee of Jones Work from July 20th to August 2021, and during that period, owed Jones Worth a fiduciary duty of loyalty, fidelity, and allegiance to act at all times in the best interest of the company and to do not act which might injure the business, interest, or reputation. Abel breached her fiduciary duties to Jones Work through her actions as described in this complaint, including by, among other things, acting against the best interests of Jones Work, including by working to undermine and damage Jones and Jones Work's business and reputation, accessing, using, and taking for her own purposes and against the company's interests, Jones Work's proprietary documents and information, and 3, soliciting, inducing, and encouraging Jones Work's employees and clients to terminate their relationship with Jones Work. Abel's breaches of her fiduciary duties proximately and directly caused monetary damages to Jones Work in an amount to be proven at trial. Seventh cause, defamation. Let's see. Jones and Jones Works Incorporated. Each and every allegation set forth above as they were fully set forth herein. Between September and December of 2024, Abel made statements to certain third parties, including participants in the public relation industry, in which she and Jones work, asserting, among other things, that Jones had doctored and falsified text messages purportedly to be from Abel and was attempting to distribute them to third parties in order to harm Abel and paint Abel in a false light. These statements are false and untrue. These statements are defamatory per se, in that they tended to cause harm to Jones's and Jones Works' reputation and business interests. Abel made these statements with knowledge that they were false, with reckless disregard for the truth of falsity, or at minimum, negligently. Abel's statement enjoyed no privilege or authorization. Abel's false and defamatory statements caused harm to Jones and Jones Works' reputation in the public relation industry and among potential clients. The defamatory statements made by Abel proximately and directly caused harm to the reputation and business interest of Jones and Jones Works. Woo. Eighth cause, defamation against defendants John Doe 1 through 10. Jones and Jones Works Incorporated, each and every allegation set forth above is if it was fully set forth herein. John Doe's 1 through 10 published the websites. The websites were viewed by numerous third parties, including on information and belief of residents of the New York County. The websites included numerous statements regarding Jones and Jones Works, including the following: Jones bullied Jones Works employees. Jones and Jones Works interfered with employment prospects of former Jones Works employees. Jones and Jones Works leaked confidential information. Jones and Jones Works coerced clients into taking action that were not in the client's best interest. Jones and Jones Works interfered with their client's ability to do business. These false statements accusing Jones of years of nonstop verbal and emotional abuse and horrific treatment in the workplace. Jones does not understand how truly to do PR outside of leaking her own client's secrets. Jones does not fight for her clients, but she does fight with them, crying, screaming, and keeping them hostage. Stephanie Jones takes clients hostage. Quote, not only does she break confidentiality, she willingly does, regardless of the possible damage this kind of behavior might cause, implying that Jones was hacking the defamatory websites. These statements are false. The false statements published in the websites are defamatory per se, in that they tended to cause harm to Jones and Jones Works' reputation and business interests. John Doe's 1 through 10 made statements with knowledge that they were false, with reckless disregard for the truth or falsity or minimum negligently. The false statements published on the website enjoyed no privilege or authorization. The false statements published on the website caused harm to the reputation of Jones and Jones Works in the public relations industry and among potential clients. The defamatory statements published on the website proximately and directly caused harm to the reputation and business interests of Jones and Jones Works. Prayer for relief, entry of judgment, they just want to court, demand for jury trial, and signed, I guess this is her lawyer for Jones and Jones Works. Y'all. It's about the money. It's about the money. Am I saying something didn't happen? I'm not saying that because I wasn't there. I don't know what's going on. But 300, the ability to bring in $350 million, the ability to cop $25,000 per month from several different clients. it's putting a lot of these text messages in a level of perspective. And it's interesting how each person is able to use these text messages for their benefit. So, like I said, I don't know. I can see why people are saying that this particular case is reaching the levels of looking at that, because it has uh, it has a book that deals with domestic violence attached to it. There is a movie attached to that book. There are rights to be able to make this book into a movie. We see that happening. So I'm just going to go through what I look at as the timeline. So they're up and they're making this movie. Let's say that if we look at all these things as being truth, because the truth is your point of view, her point of view, and then actually what went on. So we know that there were some text messages sent around. We understand that. So we understand that this movie started filming in 2023. They filmed for almost a month, and the filming was cut short because of the subsequent strikes, the Writers Guild strike, and then the SAG-AFTRA strike. So once the strikes were over, when according to what Blake Lively is saying, that there were some issues and problems going on the set, and she wanted to have a conversation about what's going on. So she sat down with the production and Sony and all of those people, and apparently there was some agreement set up. Now, Justin Baldoni says he don't know nothing about no agreement, but there was some agreement set up. Meantime, in between time, he hires a crisis, I guess Jones and Jones work. He hires a crisis intervention because he knows that there's something about to pop off. In the meantime, he capitulates to a lot of different things that Blake Lively wants to do, particularly with the wardrobe, particularly with rewriting scenes, particularly with all these different things. Now, what happened in May? I don't know. Did something happen? Something happened. Something happened. Whether it was to this high or this high, something happened. And also what happened too is you see that Blake Lively has involved her husband. Now, I did say in the last video that I saw that there was rumblings before, particularly when he worked on the Blade movie for Marvel, Blade movie. Him and Wesley Snipes did not get along for some reason. There were some other things going on too, some behind the scenes stuff that was going on. And then when he's in this Deadpool movie, he has all these praises and stuff for Blade. And now that I'm looking at this may have a lot to do with the fact he might be muscling in on trying to get the script for Blade, because he sees that there is money to be made, because I'm quite sure he made a lot of money being part of the production team for Deadpool and Wolverine. So he probably still wants in that Marvel cut, because again, let's see. Anyway, we'll figure it out later. I'll figure out all these people and where they stand. So we understand that somewhere in all of this, with all of these meetings, with this meeting happened about quote unquote conduct on the set, excuse me. There are some things happening behind the scene. Blake Lively wants her producer points, so she is contributing to the wardrobe on how this character is supposed to be dressed. She's contributing by rewriting scripts. And according to the Baldoni lawsuit, that it got to the point where he was iced out, and that she was doing the editing and the post-production and everything like that. And it appears that her husband possibly was involved in it as well. And they had a connection or whatever happened over at Sony, to the point where they had separate, that they iced him, that he was iced out of the premiere or certain parts of the premiere or something like that. There's something going on. In the meantime and in between time, there's all this cutthroat action going on between the PR companies. Well, you with the PR company, there's some internal strife. So you have a person who is working with Baldoni them, and while they're working with the representative from the Jones workers working with Baldoni, there is a story written that badmouths the owner of Jones Work. She says it's the Able girl. The Able girl says it's not me, it's somebody else. According to the lawsuit, uh, Stephanie Jones is saying that she played that this Able girl played both sides to the middle by putting out bad press on Baldoni and also putting out and but making it seem like she was the one putting out the Jones lady was the one putting out the bad press. So she would look like the angel in the middle. However, somebody was putting out something for somewhere. And that leads me to believe that now gets me very interested in the relationships between these major news outlets like the Varieties, like the Business Insider, like Deadline, like Daily Mail, all of these different articles, people, and all these things. They're getting their information from the PR people. And so since they have some constitutional protections about revealing their sources and stuff like that, these people behind the scenes, to me, with impunity, can get out here and spread all these stories and stuff like that under the guise that they know that if these mainstream media outlets want to continue to have access, they will continue to capitulate with, hey, we're going to keep you as a source, or we'll keep you as a confidential source by saying an insider gave us this information, blah, 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 blah. So now you have three things going on at the same time. You have Baldoni upset at the article that was put out against him in December, on December 20th or the 21st, I can't remember, about his bad conduct on the set, which cost him his job. He's saying that the New York Times didn't do their due diligence, that they only took the story of the PR people that were on Blake Lively's side, and they didn't do their due diligence to investigate the story. So since he's still he's still connected with his production company, but he's believing that this story is going to tank his reputation. So he is suing the New York Times for defaming him with the information provided, which I believe he believes Blake Lively's camp. Blake Lively is suing. She's suing for harassment and defamation and her reputation. She's saying that it was Baldoni and his PR team, his crisis team, which is the Jones team, then thus tag, that they put out all this bad press on her. Now, mind you, she had no dealings with them before last year, or the year before. Well, it's 2025 now. So the year before last. So it is my understanding, in looking at some information, that she has had bad press for a very long time. From the way she does interviews. Again, I saw an interview with Blake Lively, because there's this lady who puts out this thing, but when Blake Lively and her co-star in this Woody Allen film, the lady says, "Oh, congratulations on your, your baby bumper," somewhere in there. And then Blake Lively and the other girl insist, tell her, "Oh, well, congratulations on your baby bump." And then they begin to ice her out, talking about the booties and the luscious lady lumps and all kinds of stuff going on. I watched the interviews that she did for this movie, and she was talking about everything but the movie. She didn't seem like she, I had questioned, was there any postpartum or something going on because during this time? Because when she was making the movie, they were talking about breastfeeding and all of these little different things. So I had thought, well, maybe that was all of that. But she has since have had some bad press that even was way before, again, she met Baldoni. She's had a series of bad press. Well, I found out in this particular lawsuit that she's had some issues with some A-listers, Ben Affleck, a couple of Lighten girl, Lighten, I think that's what her name is. Leah Lighten, I think that's what her name was. I'll go back and look, but she's had some issues. Now, I'm not saying that people are supposed to be, people get along with everybody, because I know they don't. But again, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's going on with this whole story. So where am I at? So now you have Baldoni fighting for his life with the New York Times. You have Blake Lively fighting for her reputation and claiming that she was harassed on the set. You also have the publishing company fighting for her life because she believes that her employee sidelined her out of a contract that was worth $25 million. So why do I keep going back to money again? You're talking about a film who worked with a budget of anywhere from $25 to $35 million. And at the end of the run, it brought in $352 million. Something tells me that in between any of these lawsuits, particularly with Baldoni holding the rights, that if anything happens and he loses this lawsuit, he will lose the rights for the sequel. And then that comes up to grabs. And you remember I talked about who Blake Lively is married to. So was that a coordinated plan? I don't know. Coincidence? Did Baldoni do something on the set? I don't know. Coincidence? Are the PR firms fighting for their lives to stay relevant as PR firms in Los Angeles, New York, and wherever they work at? I don't know. But all of this is a mess. And it is going to be handled in a court of law. Let's see what happens. Do I think Baldoni has a case against the New York Times? I mean, I don't know. Because, all those text messages have such similarities, but then they all have some differences too. So everybody has piecemealed the different text messages and things. Now, with the PR firm that I'm reading this, if that lady signed those agreements and then went out and procured other clients, she's not going to look good out here in these streets. But then again, it sounds like these people are cutthroat. So this is all I got. We've gone over these lawsuits. This is what I'm looking at this. I'll probably sit back down, write some things down, and come back and do a video, because y'all know I love a good PowerPoint. And we'll go over it again, and I'll schedule a live and then get you all's input, because I really would love to see what you all's input is on this after having these different lawsuits being read and your understanding of what's going on. All right, people. We do this every week. Y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all, please share this video if you care. Y'all, tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.